What's up, guys? I have a cool deck I want to show you, and it is Bakugo with Double Front Beatdown. This was one of the most fun decks I've ever played. So I actually built this deck like 2 months ago. I was playing it at locals, and I really liked it. I posted it on Facebook, but I didn't feel like it was a deck I wanted to showcase. But then the more I played it, the more fun I had with it. And then I brought the deck to the Omaha Provisional Showdown with me. I actually brought two decks. I brought Eraserhead and then Bakugo. And I played Bakugo first, and then I switched to Eraserhead for one game, and I was like, man, I just enjoy playing the Bakugo deck. So I just played this deck for the rest of the weekend, and I played against a lot of players. I played against Jason. I played against so many people I played against, actually. And I actually gave the deck list to a couple people while I was there, and then they're telling me like, hey, I'm currently undefeated at my locals with this deck, and then I have people asking me for the deck. So they saw me play it, and they saw it was pretty hype, and so yeah, I guess I'm just gonna make a deck profile on it. So let's get started. All right, so first up we have Bakugo. He's actually a pretty cool character. So he has an enhanced ability, you destroy a foundation, and then your attack gets +2 damage. This will synergize with some foundations that I am about to show you, but naturally as you're playing attacks, you're committing foundations, passing the check, and then you can just pop those committed foundations to give extra damage onto your attack. Now the response is pretty sweet. So after your blocked Fury attack resolves, you discard it from your card pool. So you're packing damage onto your attacks, and then when your rival blocks your attack, you get to kick it from your card pool, and then when you play more attacks, you don't have progressive difficulty clogging your card pool, so your attacks are cheaper to play, is what it results to. So he's pretty sweet. But the main reason we are playing Bakugo is because of Double Front Beatdown. This card's insane. So the Bakugo and Midori Enhance just means that these two characters can only use that Enhance. You discard the top two cards of your deck, and then you build all foundations discarded this way face up. So you play this, you mill two, any foundations that you mill go directly to your stage. Now this will synergize with two foundations. We have Burst Speed and Aggressive Temper. Let's go over Burst Speed first. So this has a Bakugo response. When this card enters your discard pile during your attack's enhanced step, you burn your rival for 2 health. And then Aggressive Temper, when it enters your discard pile during your attack's enhanced step, your attack gets 2 damage. So what happens is that if you happen to mill these cards with Beatdown, like let's say for example you have these two on top of your deck, right? So you play Beatdown and then you mill these two cards, you get to trigger their responses when they enter the discard pile. So you burn them for 2 damage, whatever, and then you build these into your stage. Then you can use Bakugo's Enhance to destroy these cards, and then you double down. You get to respond again, so you double down on their effects. So it's actually pretty sweet. This is like the main part of the deck is Beatdown and then Burst Speed and then Aggressive Temper. So now moving on to a couple more cards here. So there are more ways that these can enter your discard pile other than destroying them with Bakugo and then milling them with Beatdown. You have 4 copies of Signature Right Swing. So this card here, you discard 2 cards and then you draw 2 cards. So if these are in your hand, let's just say these 2 are in your hand. You discard 2, you respond, you're going to get the damage, or you burn them if you have burst speeds, and then you draw 2 cards. So this card can filter these out of your hand, you get their effects, and then you draw cards. Now there's a foundation that does the same thing, Latent Skill. It's just an enhance, you flip, you discard 2, and then you draw 2. You can use this on any attack. So again, you have another card that makes you discard 2 and draw 2, so you have more cards to trigger these responses from your hand. So if you draw these cards, these are easy ways to filter them out. Now Bakugo has he suffers from what we call 6 hand size aggro problems. So as a 6-hander with aggro abilities, right? When you draw your 6 cards you draw back up to 6 at the start of your turn, it's like how many attacks do you expect to have? Usually it's 2, 3, or 4 or whatever. But these cards here allow you to filter the foundations and help you draw attacks. So like these cards actually solve his 6 hand size aggro problems. In addition to having more cards to help trigger the responses on Burst Speed and Aggressive Temper. So this is kind of like the engine of the deck. You have 4 Beatdown, 4 Burst Speed, 4 Aggressive Temper, and then 4 Signature Right Swing, and then 4 Latent Skill. This is 20 cards. So this is like the engine of the deck. Now let's go over Beatdown one more time. This does have an enhance from your hand. You can add this card to your card pool, and then you return this attack to its printed speed and damage. So if your rival has some big attack like a Reciprocal Burst or 1.3 million volts or whatever like starts low and gets big. After they're done using their enhance, where they just increase the damage by a lot, you can just enhance with this from your hand, add it to your card pool. You don't have to check for it or anything. You just add it to your card pool, and then you return the attack to its printed speed and damage. So this is actually super defensive. Just keep that in mind. You don't always have to attack with this. In fact, if you draw it, you can just hold it, and then if you think your rival's going to play some big attack, you just put it in your card pool, and then basically just drop their attack down to printed stats. Now, going over beatdown again, this card has a 1 check, right? Now, people don't want to check this card, of course, because it's a 1. So in order, like, it's not as bad as it seems, right? Yeah, checking a 1 does suck, but it's not as bad as long as you don't check it on your first turn, because that's the most important turn when you're building foundations. So what we do to kind of circumvent this is we are going to play 0 difficulty foundations, and Air just so happens to have 3 different ones. So we have Release, Enhance, Destroy Foundation. Your check to block it's +2. It's a good defensive enhance ability, so it also helps keep you out of deadlock, so it's pretty dope. So we got 4 Release, we got 4 Requesting Assistance. This card's actually live quite a bit because we actually play Pillar Swing, which we'll get into soon. But if you have 1 or more momentum, you ready a foundation that hasn't been readied. So it just helps, like, if you check bad, this helps you ready foundations so that you can keep on attacking your rival. And then we have 4 copies of In Danger. This is probably the weakest foundation, just because it's like you need to be, like, their attack needs to be lethal, and then you can pop this for -3 speed. Usually you just kill them first. There have been some situations where I have used this, but usually Release and Requesting Assistance are better. But anyways, regardless, the purpose of these cards is the 0 difficulty, so that you can start with like a 1 difficulty and then a 0, and then you can guarantee 2 foundations because you don't want to check beatdown, or it just so happens if you check beatdown. So yeah, then we have some 1 difficulty foundations, Destined for Mainstream Success. Really good aggro card. You usually always call attack. Like when you're attacking, right? You flip this, you call attack, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an attack, then you draw it. If it's a foundation, well, then you're confirming that you're going to check good. So a really cool card for the deck. Sometimes you like reveal a beatdown with this and it's like, wow, it's just like, it's awesome. Then the other foundation is 4 copies of Amphibious. Once per turn, if a card has left your card pool, you get to ready this foundation. So you commit this to pass a check, and then if a card has left your card pool, you ready it. So Bakugo, I mean, when they block, you just kick your attack out of your card pool. So like that's, you know, there's just very good synergy here. So yeah, that's all the foundations. There's Burst Speed, Aggressive Temper, Latent Skill, and then these ones. That's all the foundations. Now, you heard me talking about Pillar Swing earlier. Let's go over Pillar Swing. So this is not a Fury attack, but it's really good in this deck. So 3 major enhances with this card. It has Stun 2, and then if this attack is completely blocked, added to your momentum, and then the damage of this attack cannot be reduced below printed. So like against Nomu, for example, he can't like just take 6. He's like, well, man, you gotta block it or you're gonna take 8. So that's cool. But the stun's important. But the main reason we play this card is the top enhance. If this attack is completely blocked, you add it to your momentum. So what you do is you play this, use that enhance. You stun 2. Well, if they have damage reduction, then you use the damage reduction and enhance first. But regardless, it's 3 mid for 10. You use Bakugo. Where's my Bakugo at? Oh, here he is. You destroy foundation, give this 2 damage. It's now 10 damage, which is big. Now, if they completely block this, it goes to your momentum. Now you have a momentum, which I'll get into the next card. Well, I'll just give you a spoiler. We play Specialized Sound Waves to use the momentum. But anyways, so yeah, it goes to your momentum, it clears your pool, and then you can keep on attacking. Now, what usually happens is that like smart people will half block this, but they're still taking 5. So like because it's not a Fury attack, you won't be able to kick it with Bakugo, but it's still dealing 5, and then it goes to your momentum at the end of your turn anyways. But the fact that it's a 10 damage attack, that when it's completely blocked, it just clears. And it has stun too, which is nuts. But yeah, if it completely blocked, it just clears. Now it sets up your momentum for Specialized Sound Waves. But yeah, Pillar Swing is just awesome. It is a 6 diff, and you have 1 checks in your deck, but like I've never had a problem playing Pillar Swing. So yeah, 2 copies of Specialized Sound Waves. This is what we use the momentum for. So when you play this, you remove a momentum, you take 2 cards from your discard pile, you stack them on top of your deck, and then you draw one of them with the other response. So what happens here, this is like kind of the combo with this thing. So you have like Pillar Swing, Sound Waves, and then a Beatdown, for example, right? So you can do either one of these first. Usually you have a Beatdown here, or you have it in your discard pile, it doesn't matter. Let's just assume you don't. You play Beatdown, you mill 2, you give it damage, it's like 8 damage, right? Your opponent wants to block this. So they block it, you use Bakugo, kick it from your pool. Then you play Pillar Swing. You give it damage, you stun 2, all the stuff. They completely block this because they don't want to take 10. So this goes to your momentum. Then what happens is that you play sound waves. You remove the momentum. You put your beatdown and a foundation, doesn't matter which foundation. You put these on top of your deck, and then you respond, you draw one, you have your beatdown again. So then you play beatdown. So it's just abusing the enhance on beatdown, building foundations, hitting burst speeds aggressive, or just getting free foundations for Bakugo's enhance ability. So that's like the combo that I play in the deck. I only play 2 sound waves. It's more of like anything that uses momentum. If you have no way to cheat momentum on turn 2, then it's usually like a turn 3 card. So that's why I only play 2. So it's a really cool trick, but yeah, I only play 2. And then the last card in the deck, this is what I actually kill people with the most, is Howitzer Impact. Amazing card. If you've destroyed a foundation this turn, it's only a 4 difficulty. So you play like attack, 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 and then you play this, it's only on a 7 difficulty. It's really easy to pass. And then you can destroy a foundation for +2 speed. So Bakugo has the damage, this has a speed. So you just chuck this a lot of times, and it's 6 low for 8, which is nuts. And then like they usually like blocked beatdown, you stunned them with pillar swing, they blocked this, like they don't have any foundation, so like they can't block this. So a majority of my games I actually win with Howitzer Impact just because it's so cheap. It's a 4 difficulty, 8 damage attack. So yeah, that's actually all of the deck. Let me just go over it quick. Bakugo, you got the beatdowns, you got the Howitzer Impacts, and the pillar swings, and then my signature right swings. So I play 18 attacks. This is a 50 card deck. It's just a blueprint. Like I thought about putting the 6 check in this deck, Arrogant Disposition, because when you use sound waves and you stack the beatdown, this is in your card pool and you can't kick it if they block it with Bakugo. Usually they just take this because it's only 3 damage. They just take that. But when you stack beatdown in the foundation, like when you draw this, when you play the beatdown, you like checking a 6 is like optimal. But a lot of times you just commit a foundation and then you just blow it up with Bakugo. So it really doesn't matter. You don't have to play the 6 check. Yeah, let's just lay this out here. Then 4 burst speed, 4 aggressive temper. That's like the main ones. And then the 0 difficulties are actually like the super important ones. 4 release, requesting assistance, 4 in danger. And then there's the other stuff. We have Amphibious, and then Destined for mainstream, and then Latent Skill, and this is the deck. Alright, so I have a quick game from the exhibition match that I played at the Omaha Provisional Showdown. This is a very fast game. I don't get to show off a lot of tricks that the deck has, but the reason I chose this game is because of my very first turn. So after mulligans, my review step, and drawing the extra card for going second, I have 5 2 difficulty foundations in my hand and 2 0 difficulty foundations. So I open with a 2 difficulty because going second, I have no fear of checking a 1 as my first card because I have my character to commit to pass that check. Usually if you go first, it's different. You don't want to play a 2 when you have 1 checks in your deck. So after that passes, I now debate playing another 2 difficulty, but I decide to play a 0 difficulty. And I end up checking the 1. I check the double front beatdown. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say learn how to play around the 1 check on your first turn. I even showed the camera that my hand was full of 2 difficulty cards, but I chose to play the 0 because I know I have 1 checks in my deck. You know, you have to be smart about it. So after that, I have a decision whether or not to follow up with my other 0 difficulty or play a 2 difficulty. So I decide to play the 0 and I end up checking Specialized Sound Waves, the 2 check. And you can kind of see by both of our physical body reactions that it was the right call. So after my turn, I end up with 2 copies of Burst Speed on board, which is free damage. And on Deku's turn, he decides to play 2 hardened jabs, and then I block them both. I'm left with 0 cards in my hand, and I tell him, hey, look, you can play another attack, dump your hand for 10 damage, and then redraw back up with Passing the Torch, and I have to eat all the damage. So he ends up checking a 3 on Texas Smash, and then decides to go for the damage. So I have to take 17, and I'm at 11 health, and my only hope is to draw a lot of heat on my next turn. So I end up drawing 4 attacks, I think. It's Pillar Swing, Beatdown, Howitzer Impact, and Signature Right Swing. So I open with Pillar Swing, I check a 3, which kind of sucks. I stun him out, give it the 2 damage with Bakugo, and burn him for 2 with the Destroyed Burst Speed. And he's already down 12 health in 1 attack. And this is the severe amount of damage Bakugo can put out. So after that, I follow up with a beatdown. I build only one foundation off of it. I scout my next check with Destined for mainstream success, and then I pop another burst speed, and this puts him back another 10 health. So this puts him at 6, and this is just 2 attacks. And then, as I was talking about in the deck profile section, most of my games I end with Howitzer Impact. So with just 3 attacks, Bakugo was able to count to 30 health. So this deck's so sick, man. I love it. All right, guys, that is my Bakugo double front beatdown deck. And I just have a blast playing it, man. Like, the whole weekend that I played it, I never had a bad time playing the deck. It was just so fun spinning the wheel and the beatdowns, getting foundations, blowing them up, pillar swinging people. So it's just a blast. Definitely one of the most fun decks I've played in My Hero. And you know, there's another Bakugo coming out in set 2, and that one has a 7-hand size. So I'm very interested to build that Bakugo with double front beatdown. I'm gonna have to change the symbol, but you know, once I get some set 2 stuff, I just can't wait to build it, man. It's gonna be fun. So anyways, that's the deck. Build it if you like, give it a spin, and tell me how it goes, and I'll catch you guys next time.